I've fuck it, we'll do it live. I'm gonna definitely tape a backstory to this. Hey, welcome to TPIM SR Live. I am your host, True Powers Mine. Dun 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 dun. We are finally live. Welcome to TPIM SR Live. I'm your host, True Powers Mine. Today in the studio, via video, of course, we have CI. We're gonna talk about some things, folks. It should be very interesting, and as always, informative and truth. Brother CI, you there?
Greetings, peace and power, brother Pat. How's it going, sir?
It's going good. It's going good. You know, earlier today, I called you up because I got a rather disturbing email from a viewer, and they want me to ask you specifically, what was your opinion of the proliferation of white rappers in the rap game? You know, you're a rapper, you do gigs. Have you seen the industry change at all, or what are clubs looking for now?
Yes, sir, brother Pat. First and foremost, thank you, sir, for having me on TPIM SR Live, and salute to all of your followers out there. Yes, I have seen a huge change in our industry, uh, where it seems like throughout the years, throughout the history of music, there's always been preferential treatment. Um, you had the early white rappers, like you had the Beast Boys, you had uh, Vanilla Ice, you had Third Bates, MC Search, House of Pain. The list goes on and on. And what they did was they infiltrated the music industry, where since we are the creators of it seems like they're no longer with the creators of it. It seems like that they are pushing and promoting a certain type of agenda. But I will say, to some people, it would be like, is it okay for Eminem to say the N word, but Tupac couldn't say it, or a CI couldn't say it? So those are things that we have to go through. Um, I feel like that we're not creators of our art anymore. Um, and especially, we starting to see the transition of music, how it went from vinyl records to 8 tracks to cassettes, CDs. Now it's MP3s and streaming services. And then also, uh, back in the day, like the 2000s, when the record companies were orchestrating these tracks, um, it had an MP3 clause in it, meaning that in the future, when they start creating MP3s to replace CDs, tapes, and record, the artist would still start a digital fee,
Right.
uh, for their music on MP3 files. So the gatekeepers of the industry, they had, it was a course for them topic, but it was also to destroy the industry as well. So I feel like now you don't really see it. It's funny because I was just talking to a couple of nights ago, and they were asking
Hold on,
me.
I'm gonna give you a call. I'm gonna give you a call on the phone because,
Okay.
But stay on this if you can. Are you getting a phone call? Because I'm gonna try to fix the audio. Perfect. Just cut down the Facebook mic.
Hello?
Okay.
Oh, hello. I'm sorry, I got the wrong number.
There, Brother Pat?
Yeah, I'm here, but I called the wrong person. But apparently the sound kind of fixed because the sound was a little choppy. It was just a little bit choppy.
Yeah, I was kind of hearing some feedback there.
All right. But it looks good now. Or sounds good now, I hope. But now, has the coronavirus impeded your ability, to do shows?
Yes, sir. Actually, it's every every major music event that have been going on for the last 20 to 30 years, whether it's Coachella in California or South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, every industry has been affected. But the good thing about it is it's a way for independent artists like myself that are not affiliated with the mainstream artists or the mainstream industry. It's a perfect time for us to still make money. We can still sell our merchandise on the internet. We can still sell our music through iTunes, Apple Music. We can still have our music streamed through Spotify. Um, now, even though that a lot of clubs and concerts have been canceled, but it's still a way us to make money. There is a difference that when between mainstream and independent. Like your mainstream artists, like your Jay-Z's or your Beyonce's or your Eminem's or your Snoop Dogg's, they're going to be hurt by this coronavirus too, because if you don't perform, you don't make money. So as opposed to an independent artist like me, where we're not backed by a Universal Records, not backed by a Warner Brothers. All that we make, we have to dump it back into our career because we don't have the financial backers.
Right.
So we're taking a hit. Either way it goes, we're still taking a hit because in order for me to build the CI brand, it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago this month is when we started when we started creating our own music. And I had some members around me and stuff like that, guys that I started out with, but I broke away from them because I felt like they didn't want to put in the time or the passion or the dedication to get better. I had uh, uh, a much more broader vision. So what I did was over the years, I learned to write better songs and to master my craft. And I didn't really start coming into my own until 2010 when I started out with different names, but I felt like Cobra Immortal was the name that fit me the best. And so from that point, 2010, I was recording in studios. I was started doing shows. For about 5 or 6 months, I was doing a show every weekend here in St. Louis. I was doing it. People started to know who I was, and then around 2014, I ended up getting signed to a record label out in California, and after that, once we parted ways with the label, I started really understanding the business part. I mean, there's a difference. They say music industry, but actually it's the music business. I've actually, I'm also a consultant too. Like there's a few other artists that I kind of like mentor or give advice to when it regarding their career, because I told them that I actually dodged a bullet, because that one contract could have destroyed my career, because I know people personally that are signed to major labels, but they're distributed through uh, independent channels.
Correct.
Like whether it's, uh, for example, you had No Limit Records, which is Master P. They're their own independent label, but for years, their music was distributed through Priority. And Priority was a subsidiary of like Warner Music. So see, they all started out as one entity. Then they broke off. And that's where you had your Epic Records, you had Arista, you had Atlantic Records. So so a few artists, they would ask me about their contracts. And then I would tell them by law, they have to give me permission to look over their legal paperwork. And when I look over their legal paperwork, I see little discrepancies in their contract. So we actually did we all had a conference call through via Skype, and they were like, "Yo, CI, like, what do you think about like as far as the contracts go? The traditional record contracts are so bogus, and they're not real truthful because the contract that I signed was a managerial contract. It wasn't a working contract, or it wasn't a label contract. It was more like they manage me for 1 year. I take in 80% of the profits, and then they would get the other 20%. Now, some of these labels or these contracts that I saw, they would want to sign the artist like 3 to 4 years. Technically, you can't sign an artist by law no more than, and they call it the slave deals. That's the reason why you saw Prince write slave on his face, because he was battling against the shadow government. There's also a shadow government in music where the people that are making these decisions, you don't ever see them. These are guys with the old gray beards, big stomachs, and these guys are making $100+ million a year.
Wow.
Those are that you don't see. But you see artists out there like Tupac, like Michael Jackson, like Prince. See, they towards the end, they got smart. And what they did was they knew that it was going to pop if they resisted against the secret society. And for ownership is the most powerful tool that a musician can have. Whether you your own own master recordings, because some of the contracts that I saw, soon as that artist goes to those studios and they just say one word, that record label now has rights to their music, to their publishing. Because see, music is power. So is ownership. When you can own your own master recordings, you own your own publishing, write and perform your own stuff. That's what they don't like to see. And see, for years, a lot of these mainstream artists, they depended on the financial back of these major corporations.
Correct.
And see, once they got out, and they saw, well, so we still can hope to send like power, but we don't have to do them. That's the reason why, since after I parted ways with the record label that I was with in California, once we parted ways, that's when I started trying to be mouthpiece for artists that don't know what type of contracts to sign and not to sign. But we're seeing a dramatic change in our industry because of this coronavirus. Like, it's got the point to where they're not going to have any type of musical festivals until probably the end of this year. Same way with the NBA, same way with all the major sports. every industry is taking a hit, but definitely we're feeling the brunt as independent contract in the music industry. We're taking off this hit because we don't have the revenue to stay relevant. You have to spend your own money in order to stay relevant. Now, I listened to one of your shows, Pat. You had a guest on there, and I learned a lot from that particular episode that you had. Um, I've been one of the strong advocates on speaking out against the shadow government in Hollywood because I saw so many artists, past and present, get uh, uh, jerked of all their works, their names, their songs, their recordings, and some of them are dead because they they woke up because they were like, ownership is power. Jackson, before Michael Jackson died, Michael Jackson was getting ready to be the richest musician in the history of music because he was getting ready to broker a deal with Universal, which is owned by Disney. Marvel Comics is owned by Disney.
Disney's powerful.
Exactly. And Michael Jackson is ready to own all of it, if not half of it.
So you're saying he basically got Cosby. And we're not talking about slipping a Mickey to a chick. We're talking about, oh, you want to buy NBC? Your son dies.
Yes.
So he got Cosby. Okay.
Yep. And if you think about it, who was Cosby's son murdered by?
A Russian, or so they say.
Yes. See, it's. I think what people need to look at too is when you look at all of the top performers, mainly in rap, like you have Tupac, you had Eazy-E, you had Notorious B.I.G., Pop Smoke, Nipsey Hussle. The list goes on and on. See, we're our worst enemy because those guys that I named, they wasn't killed by people that didn't look like us. They were killed by people that did look like that.
Yeah, but the point is, brother, they didn't get killed by people who think like us. Fuck what a person looks like. It's about what they think, what they feel. That's the difference. So in essence, yes, they were killed by small sombreros and melanated skin. That's what they were killed by. Small sombrero thanking men, but they just happened to be in black skin.
Right. The music industry is a $16 billion a year industry. And now we were kind of talking about the like we touched on how difference is of now where you have more Caucasian rapper coming over on the scene to overshadow the black rappers. So all of these decisions are being anchored by the puppet masters, the guys that you don't never see in the music industry. Like you like when we do a show, it's all on me. You don't see me with a big entourage of people, but I will say this though. Before I do any type of event, I always ask a couple days before, can I tour your facility just in case somebody comes in there and starts blasting? You want to be able to figure out a way to get out. Now, I can't even tell you how many shows I've done, but I've done some shows at some hole in the wall where it was only one way and one way out. But now, once you start becoming a public figure and people start knowing who you are, they start following you. You really, it's a dangerous industry because you never know when they put your name and your face and your picture on these flyers. Oh, okay, he's gonna be here. She's gonna be here. Okay, so your enemies, a lot of them, they follow you from fake pages.
Right.
They might come to one of the shows and you won't even know. They can shoot you, stab you, because when you're on stage, you're pretty much a sitting duck.
Well, yeah.
So behind all of the fame, the fortune, and the fanfare, I'm seeing our industry slowly die every single day because the way that it's set up now is in order for you to get recognized by the secret society or by the labels, they want you already. They want you to have a certain amount of social media followers on Twitter and Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, and all of that. They want you to have so many followers before they'll start coming to you. Because you best believe it. If I have a million plus followers total on all of my social media platforms, they're going to be coming after you. They're going to be, because they're going to want to find out what exactly, how's he doing this? How's he getting the reaction from the fans? How he building his fan base? And once they start seeing me putting up numbers, then they're going to be coming after.
Right. So it's like they always want you to be pre-vetted basically with your own audience base. So all they have to do is take whatever medium you're using, put it in some sort of package and sell it to those people. They want to be the middleman between the artist and the consumer of the artist's work. That's the whole gag.
Right. Yeah. And see, and then also too, their plan also backfired because it teaches you every single day about I'd love to something different. Outside of doing shows and all of that stuff like that, I learned something different when it comes to the industry. I've actually was around when I saw quote unquote rap came out, and we're talking about we didn't call it against the media called it against.
Right. The same media that tells you not to use the N word. And speaking of that, what is like the word on the streets as far as like the black rapping community is concerned with, let's say, non-melanated rappers saying nigger or nigga in their raps?
Well, to me, I feel like it's a catch-22. Like that, one hand, you have some black folks that is a white rapper say nigga in raps or by shooting somebody or something like that. It's a form of conditioning. It's what they've been doing to us since day one. The condition to white supremacy. And then you have rappers like Eminem that came out, and then when you do the history of him, he used it in a lot of his music. But as long as he's famous, black folks don't see anything wrong with it. But they got mad at Tupac for saying what he was saying. They got mad at Ice Cube for saying what he was saying. They got mad at Chuck D and Professor Grip. They were mad at them. KRS-One, they were mad at them. See, when you talk about unity. That's where they want to. You talk about the murder, kill, black man, murder, kill, black man. That's what sells. And now we're at a point where talking about sipping lean and doing all types of drugs. That's glorified now. Now, a person that before I became an artist, I was a fan of music first. And I've always had an issue with Cajun rappers using the N-word. And I'm not saying that they don't live in the hood. But what I'm saying is there's some that live in the suburbs. Right. They can go to a Sam Goody. They can go to Best Buy. They could go to Target and afford to buy the CDs. But us as black folks, we didn't have that indisposable income. So we either had to get bootleg or we had to, get a copy or something like that. But at the end of the day, those white kids from the suburbs, they can go back to Liberty. They can go back to Town and Country. They can go back to Frontenac. But where does the black kid go? The black kid goes to the hood where he's subject to joint aid or shoot somebody where he can get killed. There's a powers that it's like Brother Mark from Anaheim said, all by design. All by design. Now, what is so crazy too is you have, okay, for example, you have Janet Jackson, okay, sister of Michael Jackson. Right. This woman has sold over 100 million records, and they will not allow her to be inducted to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, there's only been a few rap groups that has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's where the discussion comes in. Well, how could rappers be inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if it's strictly Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Right. So the only ones I knew that was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was Tupac, WA, I think Public Enemy too, but it's not many black artists that is inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, you look at okay, Brother Pep, we started at the beginning of this episode. We talked about the evolution of music and where it's headed. Correct. I just believe, like for myself, I'm seeing how rap, they don't even call it rap anymore. I still call it rap because I'm from the old school generation. But that's the reason why I've been experimenting with other genres. Because see, in order to stay relevant in this music industry, you have to find a way to have the longevity. Now, if Metallica or Megadeth or Kiss or the Rolling Stones, these guys are in their 60s and 70s and they're still selling out shows. Rappers can't do that unless you're an Ice Cube or a Dr. Dre or a Snoop, somebody like that. But the point is that I'm trying to make it, I'm seeing how the music is changing. That's why I'm starting involved in other genres like jazz and rock, or even blues. Like I've been talking to a few different artists from different genres, mainly the ones that I named, and on working with trying to put together a project with them because I'm seeing that rap is on its way out. It's not even considered rap anymore. It's mumble rap. It's all about It's no, there ain't no
So there's no soul, there's no message, there's no intellectual food. Something to think about after you hear a song. And not only that, there's not the numerical numbers like you illustrate as far as how you describe how Kiss and Metallica and all them can still have a loyal fan base because their fan base is economically viable. The typical fan base of the rap music back in the 80s, well, let's face it, most of them are dead. Most of them are incarcerated. Most of them are still economically non-viable. So therefore, they will have more interest in trying to put a couple of nickels together to get a plate of food than worry about buying your $100, $200 ticket. That's the reality. And until we fix that with group recognition and reparations, then what we're ultimately talking about here, brother, is a dying breed. You know, just like it's so kind of hard pressed to find a crackhead, a traditional crackhead. It's gonna in the near future be hard pressed to find a traditional rapper. Just look at the stuff coming out, and as you see, they're gonna turn rap into what they turn heavy metal into: drugs and Satan. It's gonna be about using drugs, and it's gonna be about worshiping Satan.
And if you listen to, I mean, even some of my favorite artists, like we talked about Michael Jackson, we talked about Tupac, like they were at one point in time, they had to make a choice in order to, because see, when you look at Hotel California backwards, because there's an app to listen to songs backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I listen to Hotel California. It talks about the initiation of the secret society / Illuminati. Like there's 3 doors, and whatever door that you go down will determine how far you want to move up the ranks. If you look at Shaquille O'Neal is a 33rd degree Mason, like the highest that you can go. See, when you join their brotherhood, you have unlimited opportunities. But unfortunately, they still have to participate in rituals. They have to it's almost like you renew your mortgage, basically. You have to go through channels and do the initiation again and participate in the rituals. See,
but also you have to not say anything. Well, I'm glad you brought up Shaquille O'Neal because I was thinking about doing a show about this later on. But you notice he doesn't run around here talking about reparations. He will not talk about tangible things because of the fact that, do you really think he's going to give up his gold and silver for your liberation? You're sadly mistaken. I'm letting you know, sweetheart, it's going to be like a prom. Like you're out here on the prom and, you're the little girl. I'm the young guy, and he's going to rape your dreams like the young guy does in the back of the limousine. Horrible analogy, but I think you get the overall gist. If you're sitting here waiting for entertainers and bankers and all that, you're wasting your time. That's the reason why I brought Cobra on, so that he could illustrate to all of you out there the realities of behind the business, behind the act, backstage, beyond the backstage. What we've really been talking about is value and worth of the art, the artists, and the fans. When you're sitting here, well, go ahead.
Yeah, brother, but I just want to add to like how you were just talking about the a lot of the black entertainers, like the Shaquille O'Neals or the artists. There's 2 sides of the spectrum. On one spectrum, you had the artists like Tupac and Michael Jackson. On a lot of their songs, they would talk about making a deal with the devil. And I saw an interview with Ed Bradley, the late great Ed Bradley, one of the few black journalists at that time for CBS. He did an interview on 60 Minutes with Bob Dylan.
Right.
Bob Dylan said that Well, I had to make a deal with the devil. And then he talked about like you're entering into a world that you never see. It's kind of like we was going back about earlier. It's all these puppet masters, these gatekeepers that are pulling the strings and controlling. They figured out a way to control the whole industry. One question that was how come all of the black successful entertainers in music and sports all come together and build their own sports teams, build own record labels, build their own TV, film, movie production company. And I said, oh, no, because as soon as you talk about organization, that's when they're going to cut off their resources.
Right. They'll get blackballed. They'll get blacklisted.
Yeah. Amen. You know, I knew a girl a couple of years ago. She was facing, she was a recording artist that I met through social media. Very talented young lady. And like I said, on the side, I consult with other artists. They'll reach out to me for advice or something. And I don't know everything, but I just keep it real with them from my perspective on what it was like to sign with a record label. And she had told me that these record executives wanted to fly her out to Los Angeles to sign her for a deal. So she flew out and she stayed in her hotel and everything. And then she was supposed to meet with the actual record executives from Warner Music. When she got there, they sat in this conference room, and she was saying that when we signed this deal, there are certain things that are gonna have to be willing to do in order to move up the ladder. So this is where the casting couch comes into play. And she was like, "No, I'm not going to do it." You know, she wasn't willing to her soul or to perform any type of sexual innuendos to gain fame and fortune. At that time, her talent is the reason it was the main reason why they wanted her there. But they knew that since she had talent, what would she do in order to move up the ranks? And then afterwards, she came back to New York. She kind of went into kind of like a depression, you know, right. and I can attest to that because you work so hard to perfect your craft, to get people to notice it, and to get to where you want to be, and then you get the wool pulled over your face. Like, okay, so what signed me for? Are they signing me for my talent, or are they using me for their own? So I told her, because after I lost my deal, I took about 5 months, like a break, to kind of rehabilitate myself. And then after that healing process, I went back to the studio and I recorded a new album, which was Open Fire. And Open Fire was it was kind of like a clap back at my former label, because I felt like they didn't do what they're supposed to do as far as marketing and promoting me. By the way, they owed me money, you know, because they were supposed to compensate me for the cost of my album. At that time, it cost me close to about $3,000 to record that album.
Wow.
So it's a fruitful industry as long as you cross all your T's and dot your I's and always have, you know, they use the quote unquote third eye to watch you. But see, when you turn that around on them, that's what they don't want. And I truly believe that the reason why they haven't fully approached me is because I'm too defiant. I know too much stuff in this industry. That's the reason why they do have the threat. And honest, I feel like they're all in. But see, that's given me a lot of power because I'm the master of my own ship, and I dictate what comes out, what is released, and what's not released. So even though they try to blackball you and they'll try to defamate your character, all it is still giving you power. Like the ones who, the musicians who came before us, like your Jim Morrison,
Mm-hmm.
your Pink Floyds, all of the classic rock bands and your soul and R&B singers. See, a lot of them didn't get the chance to really see what true liberation is. There's liberation in the industry too. Ownership is liberation. Being able to put out your own product if you want to, and not have somebody tapping you on your shoulder. Hey boy, you better put that. You signed this contract. You better put these 10 albums out, or we're going to destroy you. That's what they did to Tupac. Tupac had one of the worst contracts in the history of, not to say that all shit, but I remember when Pop said that he would make a deal with the devil in order to get out of jail. That's what he was in jail. So they put you in a position to where once they fully have you,
They have you.
they control every move that you make. It's like the music industry also has a task force. If they feel that you're going to be a threat or you're gonna be some type of problem, they're gonna come after you. They're gonna come after you.
So you're talking about gang stalking now?
Yes, but coming from the industry itself. Like if you have there's a guy, there's a rapper by the name of Young Dolph. And Young Dolph is from the South, from Memphis. Okay, when you think of Memphis, you think of 8 Ball and uh, Yo Gotti, 3-6 Mafia, Kingpin, Skinny Pimp, like a lot of the great legends from Memphis. So Young Dolph is probably worth close to $20 million independently. So you got the biggest gatekeeper in music. Well, actually, as far as for rap, there's 4 people that are the gatekeepers of rap. Yeah, P. Diddy, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent. I'll put Russell Simmons in there. That's 4. And Jay-Z. Jay-Z is the most wealthiest out of all of the gatekeepers. And if an artist comes through the pipeline, and if there's a song or something that the artist has going on, then you have the choice. They can kill that. They can kill every radio station from playing that song.
Yep.
So, but still really when you're an independent contractor like we are, we're still at a disadvantage because we have to still make money to keep our brands up to. We're not backed by the major. So, to anyone that is listening to this broadcast today. And if you're in the music industry or media, journalism, science, no matter what field you're in, all I can say is perfect your craft and research the business, because the business music industry changes every day. So while I'm sleeping, there's something new or somebody new that's coming out that is changing the course of our industry.
Right.
It's still a lot of dark secrets in this industry. And I think once you start speaking out against the establishment, i.e. the shadow government, which they're not, I call them shadow government because I really know who's controlling the strings here. So, and I would think in the next 20 years or less, there won't be rap anymore. I think what's happening is people out there, a lot of them don't write their own songs. They got a lot of your great artists, they all had ghostwriters. I just think that we're in an industry where it's constantly changing, and this is almost out. So what I've done is I'm looking to get involved in doing other things.
Right.
Like expand my whether it's writing for other artists or getting involved in other genres. Like I said, like rock. I actually have a song on rock radio and played called "Break the Rule." And when I made the song, I didn't make it for us. I made it for something. It's so like, oh well, he's a rapper, but he's got rock type songs. That's what I'm doing. I'm not combining rock and rap. I'm steadily trying to get into other genres of music.
Right.
So I don't like considering myself as a rapper. I want to consider myself as a recording artist. Because there is no limit. Just like you call yourself a rapper, you're putting this limit on you. There ain't no limit. All you have to do is pray, work hard, do your networking, and you're going to run into other people that are just like you. And I think some of them are catching on. I know a lot of rappers, they're catching on because they're seeing how rap is, because there's no source in it. They dried up all of these resources. Just like everything else. They went to Africa, they drained all the resources there. They went to India, they did the same thing. They did that to. So, and that's the reason why there was a time that the term agent was created. That was the term that was between the pop and the record label. Look at if you've seen Straight Outta Compton,
right?
Who was the person that got them to where they wanted to be? Jerry Heller.
Yeah.
If it was Jerry Heller, there wouldn't have been no way. If it wasn't for Jimmy Iovine, there wouldn't be no Suge Knight. So you have to even.
So can we say it like this? If it wasn't not for small sombreros, none of this would be popping off the way it is.
You're absolutely correct, sir.
Okay. Just
Yep.
want to get that clarified.
Yep. It would not have happened, you know, and these people are still reaping the benefits of these artists that are either dead or in jail. When that song plays or a CD is sold, the record companies get majority of that money. Maybe the artist they'll get a little bit off of it, but not as much as what the labels get.
You know that's right.
So um, I just feel like we're just in, music is at a stalemate right now. I don't know the way that it's going to go, but I know that to me, and it's just my opinion, that rap is dying now. That's the reason why they hip hop. They don't say rap, you know. So what happens when pop starts dying? Then where are we going to go? Because if you're not smart enough to advance before you start seeing other stuff happening, you're going to be lost.
Yes.
So as an artist, you want to exercise, you want to explore every opportunity that's available.
Do
So
not limit yourself. Do not limit your capabilities. Even if you're in a bad contract, there's always a way out. There's always loopholes, and probably take you a good lawyer to get out of that situation, but there's always a way out. So, in conclusion, I think it's safe to say is that the way that this commercialized rap thing started with the small sombrero, it's also going to conclude with the small sombrero getting the majority of fame and fortune out of this endeavor. And we're already starting to see the tidal wave, and we're already starting to see the face of rap change in just a moment time. For someone to suggest there was ever such thing as a black rapper is going to be laughable. Oh, there's never one. It's official. Eminem is the new Elvis.
yeah, basically it's like, um, but see through history, that's all they did. All they did was take our ideas. Like
And that I still
would,
works. It still works. We can still exploit you, take your stuff, and at the end of the day, you're gonna be washed up on the side of the road. But all that energy that you put in it, we're gonna harness it and use it for our agenda. And our agenda is gonna be insulting your woman and putting less of a value on your life perceived by the next person that looks like you, because you're no longer a man or a woman or a child. You're just an
right.
object.
I was, I looked at like, being a musician the last 10 years, I went through a lot, seen a lot. I've developed uh, a lot. I've developed enemies from being an artist. Um, I went through. I mean, I went through a lot. Like after I parted ways with record label I was signed to, I didn't know where to go. I was kind of confused. Uh, I didn't know where to go to turn to. What? Um, so I took some time for myself. I took some time and to rehabilitate myself, and it felt like it was a traumatic experience. It's like, man, you work hard, to come overnight. And I've learned that slow success builds character, but fast success builds ego.
Mm.
It's, if you don't value, with the passing of my father taught me so many things, but one of the things that stood out to me of me was value, knowing your worth, knowing who you are.
Mm.
And I felt like what got me through this whole industry.
What's the love of your father? Uh-oh. It looks like we're having some sort of your video froze up, brother. But we're at the hour mark. We're gonna conclude the show anyway. So Facebook, it doesn't matter if you want to start being jiggity with the reception now, because the information's already out. We already proliferated the knowledge, and hopefully this show is giving you all something to think about today. As we, something other than the coronavirus, something other than all that. Think about the
Yes. And
direction in which this thing, because even after we get the corona thing mopped up, we're still going to be dealing with the issues me and brother CI is talking about right now. We're still going to be dealing with those issues. And until we
right,
recognize this, then I'm telling you, the plan is still going to be the same. You're going to end
right.
up on trains and you're going to be rolled up into easy bake ovens. And if this corona thing doesn't show you anything, it will show you once people get scared, all bets are off. So put that in your little
Absolutely.
pipe and smoke it. You want to say anything in conclusion, CI?
Yes, sir. Like I said, thank you. Thank you to SR Live, TPIM. Uh, Thank you to the followers and fans of the show. A huge thank you to my fans well around the world. And for anyone that is listening to this show, you can find more information on Cobra Immortal. By you can go to Facebook at the Real Cobra Immortal. You can follow me on YouTube at Cobra Immortal. You can find me on Instagram at Cobra Immortal. You can find me on Twitter. Also, I have music on Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, whatever streaming services or music services that are streamed and sold. So I want to say thank you to everybody that is listening today. I hope that I was able to provide you with some knowledge and hope. And like the words of Brother Pat, TPIM SR Live, live your life of peace, prosperity, be kind to others, and show one another love and respect and kindness. So that's what we should do, brother.
All right, brother. Well, we appreciate you for having you on the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll be hollering at you later on the side note. And
Okay.
peace and power.
Peace and power. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
All right, yeah. This will include TPIM SR Live. I just want to thank you all once again. TPI TPIM SR Live is on FaceApp, or not FaceApp, but Cash App. $ TPIM SR Live, the name of the show at Cash App. Just got that up and running, I think yesterday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this will conclude the show, man. This is such a wild time in which we're living. March 15th, 2020, the year of our Lord. As always, live your life of integrity without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, brothers and sisters, please, 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 let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace in our power, unity in our victory, dignity in our respect, liberation. And thank you, chatters. Thank you, one and all. Peace and power.